Live from the 5th floor of the Ravenclaw Tower, inside of a Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, inside the Ravenclaw Common Room. I gotta figure out what I actually say. You guys, it's 2
Filthy!
nerds!
'Cause we're filthy.
And we're nerds.
And there's dose of us.
There is dose of us. That's right. There's 2 of us. We're here. There's also people joining us in the chat from our Patreon, patreon.com/2filthynerds. If you want to be part of the live chat, gotta join there. We're not.
What are you
seeing
waiting
shit.
for?
Yeah,
what are you waiting for?
If you're shitting on us on YouTube right now because it's gone live on the Comedy Store, we're not seeing your shit. So shit away. Who cares? We already went over that last
If you want to
episode.
shit with authority, head over to our Patreon. For
Absolutely.
a nominal amount a month, you can shit on us to our faces and we will respond to you. Like, if you really want to talk shit, let's make this a fucking roast battle, okay? Don't just sit there with the anonymity that you have on YouTube with your avatar and your fucking handle that says nothing about you with no bio. We're out here being public figures, putting ourselves out there for you to scrutinize and ridicule. Grow a pair, come on over to Patreon, and let's get physical, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot.
On that note, little housekeeping, as they say, little house elf-keeping. We're doing Die Hard. It's happening this Wednesday, the 23rd. It's dropping. We will have a guest, Josh McCouga. You know him from his show on the History Channel. He's fucking incredible.
I'm really excited for you to experience Die Hard.
I'm excited. I've never seen it. By the time
it's
this
crazy to
episode
me
drops,
that you've never seen it. Like Hans fucking Gruber. Snape.
Already had that spoiled. Who that is.
Snape.
Fucking god damn it.
Who
Eric
spoiled it?
Eric in the
Oh yeah, Eric.
Patreon.
Always
Our rogue
Eric.
spoiler.
Eric loves a good spoiler.
I'm still excited. I'm excited to see Snape or Alan Rickman play a character who I assume is a villain. I feel like that's his sweet spot.
It really is. I want to see him in something where he's not a villain. I don't really know his body of work all that well.
So now I know he's a villain. It never ends. Anyway.
Oh wait, I just ruined that?
Yeah, but it's fine. What are we gonna do? When did Die Hard come out? 1943? Who knows? Listen, we're almost done with Bachelorette. If you're sick of that shit, it's almost done. This will be the week of the.
By the way, how could you
premiere.
be sick of it? We hate it, and we love to hate it.
It's so fun.
It's so bad, and it's so good.
Screaming at the television. Also fun. Seeing myself in the camera and this giant bald spot.
We both have the same one.
Quarantine's going fine. So anyways, we'll be doing another series after Bachelorette. We don't know what it is yet. We will likely have our patrons vote on it. We might do some one-offs of movies, may have some special guests and do things they haven't seen or the things that they love that we haven't seen. So get excited. We're doing it all.
I'm getting pumped for Indiana Jones. That's where I want to be.
Which is likely going to be the next one of the next series we do.
Cool.
We'll probably have our patrons vote on officially what the next one is, but that will definitely be a choice, and it will be done eventually. In any case, because we got to go through everything. There's so many things to watch, and a horrible amount of things I haven't seen. But where we are right now is The Half-Blood Prince. We're halfway through it. Nicole hasn't read it. If you're new to this podcast, so you know, the whole format is that one of us hasn't seen or read something, or a special guest hasn't seen or read something that we love. So, yeah, we know that Harry Potter is 2 decades old.
Yeah.
That's
we know.
fine.
I'm 2 decades old.
Yeah.
Only 2 decades.
Yeah. She doesn't look a decade older than 2 decades.
Nope. I look 20.
She does. She's youthful.
And I'm in my early to mid-late 20s.
How could I have read Harry Potter? I wasn't even born yet.
I still don't know how to read. I'm so young.
Oh. I mean, I was, but if I was at 20, it doesn't matter.
Speaking of being young.
Oh, this is what we're running our mouths about, you guys. Holy shit.
We kind of talked about it briefly in the last podcast, but we wanted to run our mouths about it this time. Sex ed.
Yeah. What? Okay. Apparently there's a whole span of what sex ed meant for some people. I saw a woman give birth, the miracle of life.
You saw that? So when you got into sex ed, that was like one of your first things
Oh
they
no, wait,
showed you?
that was 6th grade. That wasn't even sex ed. That was just a movie we watched in 6th grade. Never mind.
Wow, they just were like sprung it on you, and they're
Yeah,
like,
they were just like,
"This
we're
is it."
watching The Miracle of Life. I will say it was so notorious that, people talked about, oh, in 6th grade, you're going to have to watch The Miracle of Life. That was one of those things where, like, that was our putting a condom on a banana, which we never did because I came from an abstinence only school district where we were taught, well, just don't do it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
don't have
We're not going to
sex.
teach you how to do it because you're not gonna do it.
By the way,
And
not effective. I know so many teen pregnancies at my school. Just
are
not.
they? Do they still? Do you know if schools still teach that abstinence only thing?
I'm sure there are schools that do. I don't know if mine does. I'll tell you this. It seems like a lot of people I grew up with never figured out what a condom was
Yeah,
based on the amount of kids I see in my timeline.
yeah. I
Just
mean, you know what it is, but you don't even care.
no, because it's like, well, why bother? I'm like, if I'm not risking everything, how am I supposed to come? If I'm not worried
Hmm.
that I may create a life or worse, get a degenerative disease in my vagina, how am I supposed to get turned
Absolutely.
on? It's the risk.
It
Ugh.
really is. The HPV, it's a real thing. And if it's not like a potential problem, I can't come either.
Yeah, by the way, that was not something that was talked about in my sex ed classes. We went through a slew of STDs. I didn't know about HPV
I
until
never heard about
college.
HPV at all. I never heard
Yeah.
about HPV until the doctor told me I had it. And I was like, what's
And
that?
you're, I
What?
have a what?
The
Yeah,
what?
in
I have
college.
HIV. No,
And you're, like,
HPV. P.
and you're like, oh, that's
This
fine.
isn't
And they're like,
always
well,
about you.
I. I fucking, I think the only reason I learned about it when I did is because I had a sorority sister who worked at the what was that place called? The University Health Center where you could
Yeah,
get
yeah,
free
yeah.
condoms, and she gave safe sex speeches to like sororities and stuff. She
So
like
funny.
went
I
around.
knew a girl who did that, and they would have safe sex party attendants.
That's so
And they would
funny.
send people around to like frat parties and bars, and they would just show up and be like, "Who needs condoms?" And they'd hand out condoms, male condoms and female condoms.
Well, I would. Ew, female condoms.
Female condoms were so funny to me. They looked like body bags for dicks.
Yeah, it just I'm not gonna jam. That's the thing is that like I still don't understand how female condoms work because my only knowledge of them is I mean, like, I've seen one in a gynecologist's office, and then I just have to assume how you put it up there. It's a lot like how I figured out tampons after going through several tampons by trying to push it in from the outside instead of sticking the whole applicator inside of me.
So you were just shoving. How are you trying to put a tampon in?
Well, this is probably not fun for all of the people watching, both in the Patreon chat who are uh, a lot of men tuned in right now, and also Comedy Store chat. They've all left. They've
You know
killed
what?
themselves.
We'll
But
stop.
here's I would take where okay, so for those of you who don't know, which is statistically, according to my Instagram, 70% of my target audience, uh, there is a cotton tampon inside either a cardboard, it's inside a cardboard or plastic applicator, then you like push it in. And what you're supposed to do is put the applicator inside of you,
And
then
then
push the
push.
tampon out. I would put the lip, like the tip,
Just
here,
you just tip it.
the tip of the applicator up to my vagina lips, and then just try to shove it in there. And I was like, I guess my vagina's just too tight. I guess I just can never use tampons.
So that's probably why you have such a tight vagina.
I mean,
You were never putting in the tampon.
well, no, eventually someone told me and I figured it out, and I was like, turns out my vagina's not tight. I'm just stupid. It is still tight though. Okay? I've still got it, according to one person.
Yeah.
In 1992. I miss you, Uncle Ed. Anyway, did you learn about putting in tampons and stuff? I feel like I learned about
No.
periods, but I didn't
Nobody. I didn't. I learned about periods, but no one told us about putting in tampons. I remember I got my period at Brooke Sherline's house, and Brooke had already had her period, so she had to like coach me through a tampon.
That's so fun. Yeah, I feel like with your group of girlfriends, was it a thing where you like called each other? You're like, oh my God.
Oh, so big. Oh, I remember I wanted my period so bad because I was the last person to get my period. I was like
Same.
almost 14, almost 15 maybe.
Wow, that was
And
only 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, only 5 or 6 years ago. And when first I thought I got it, but really my friend Jessica Asamani, she and I were playing, and we like were kicking each other in the cunt, and like hitting each other like in the vagina, just you know,
Why? What is
I don't
wrong with
know.
you
We
guys?
were both tomboys. We thought it was funny to just like beat each other up. And I remember she hit me in the vagina so hard that like the jeans I was wearing like cut the inside of my vagina somehow. And and it wasn't bad, but there was like a little bit of a cut. And then I peed later on that night and I thought I got my period because there was a little bit of blood. And I was like, yes, finally. I was so amped. And I was like, Mom, I got my period. And then she gave me a pad. And then I woke up the next morning and the pad was totally empty.
And you were like,
then
it's a miracle.
And then I was like, fuck, Mom, my period went away. And then I like sat with a mirror and looked at my vagina and found this little tear. And I was like, oh, yeesh.
That is a hard day.
And then I didn't get my period for real until maybe like a year later.
Wow, that is hard.
That was a bummer.
I got my period at home, and the only person home was my stepdad, Terry. And it was not fun. Because I had to go to Terry for help.
Give me a reenactment. What'd you say to Terry?
I knocked on the bedroom door where he was just sitting in his bedroom watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, yes, what do you want? And I was like, can I come in? And he's like, sure. And I opened the door and I just stood there. And he's like, what? And then I said, I'm bleeding. And he's like, do you need a Band-Aid? And I was like, do they have Band-Aids for vaginas? I'm bleeding from my vagina. Do you have a Band-Aid for that?
That is the best
and then he's like,
period story I've ever heard
I have to
in
call
my
your
life.
Mother. And like, by the way, the only thing that my mom had laying around was like a pad that had come in some type of free sample woman's kit because
so it was basically a diaper.
Yeah, because she had thought she hit menopause. She didn't. She just didn't have her period for years, and then it came back because God knows what happened, what unhealthy bullshit she went through to just.
I mean, first your father leaves her, then her period.
I mean, yeah, no, my period when my father died didn't come for a whole extra month, and it's like, can we leave? Can we? It's like the period's like you're on your own, bitch. I'm not.
Yeah.
Even your genitals can't stand your grieving. By the way, looking at our Patreon chat, there is a good friendly man named John in there who is reminding all of us tampons do not go down the toilet. That sounds like someone who's had his toilet destroyed. I am alarmed by the amount of adult women I've met who don't know that. And they think that we can run a country. We can't even throw our tampons out.
We can't even run a toilet.
I mean,
properly.
my God. That's what do you think the trash can is in the bathroom for? For your just fucking regular trash? It's for your tampons.
Here's my problem with throwing tampons in the trash. I have a dog. So tampons in the trash known as buffet.
Yeah. Get a trash with a lid on it.
He knows how to open lids.
He does?
Yeah.
How do you know you don't have one on your trash?
I had one before and he opened it.
I don't believe you guys.
He knocked over the trash can and got the bloody tampon out.
He's a scoundrel.
He is a scoundrel. Your trash can's really cute, though. Maybe I'll get a new one like yours and try it all over again.
It has a lid, and I did that specifically because I was worried about dogs. My dog has never eaten my tampon yet.
You have a really good dog when it comes to that. She's not a trash eater.
No, she's not. She only eats meat. If there was meat in the trash, maybe. This was supposed to be about sex ed, and now it's all about tampons. Did you guys wait? Did you get the pictures of dicks like covered in algae and stuff?
What?
Yeah,
dicks covered in algae?
We had a slideshow of like genitals covered in things, and they're like, "This is what will happen if you have sex." Also, whose dick was that? Who's waiting that long to go to a doctor before they're like, "I think maybe there's something wrong"? But then men still want pictures of their dick out in the world so bad. They're like, "Should we take a picture for a science book or something?" Fucking
dick barnacles. The dickhead barnacles.
I'm telling you, and anyone who went through this in health class knows what I'm talking about. It wasn't like a herpes was on it, and they're like, "Oh, I have one sore." It was like genitals covered in wounds, and it's like, what? Was this person just lost in a desert, but also fucked a cactus, and they couldn't get to a hospital till years later? It was like, It was a horror movie of genitals because you know why you probably didn't see it? Because you didn't have abstinence-only education. This was fear-based education. You
Yeah,
have
that's what I
sex.
was just gonna say. By the way, I just looked for scary dick pictures for
Don't do
sex
that.
ed. Terrible idea.
I
I think the fear-based thing actually kind of works. Like that fucked me up a little. I remember the first time I saw a dick with disease on it, it was like cauliflower dick.
was it a wrestler?
You know, pretty much. It was like a wrestler's ear in the shape of a dick. But it had
Wait, did you see it in person?
No, I saw it. I saw it in one of my mom's like medical books.
Okay.
It was it was a dermatology book because I wanted to be a dermatologist because it was pre-med. And hold on, dick with cauliflower. I'm going to show you.
So this is an audio podcast for the most part. We got to wrap up. We've got to get to a break. The most important takeaway from this is that if you Google gross vagina, there's a lot of things you don't want to see, but you'll also see my album cover in the first page. That is a true fact. Somebody told me. I wish they hadn't sent me a screenshot because it was
Awful.
It still haunts me. But enough about our sex problems. We've got to talk about the sex problems of these horny teens. We're going to take a break.
And we'll be right back.
All right, we're back. Chapter 16, A Very Frosty Christmas.
Oof.
Is that about cum? Who knows?
Should be. It better be. On our podcast, it will be.
For fucking sure. Listen, we're at the Burrow for Christmas. Harry's gone home, as promised, with Ron for the holidays. He is circling around this Malfoy and Snape thing.
I mean, as he should be.
Yeah, he's telling everyone what he overheard. I mean, he's retelling Mr. Weasley, who we know has already gone and checked the Malfoys. And he's getting the same response about Snape, which is, well, Snape's probably just, trying to pretend.
So he can get information.
And
But it's like, what are we waiting for? Why, if we know that Malfoy could have information, why aren't we in there snatching up Malfoy?
I mean, I know. I don't know. It's like, do they just not think he's that big of a threat? Maybe he's not that big of a threat. Harry tries to go to Lupin about the Snape thing. And Lupin kind of gives him the same thing. That's like, look, I trust Dumbledore. Dumbledore trusts Snape. End of story. It's one of those, this feels a little like the adult because I said so.
Yeah. This does feel like because I said so. And it's infuriating because I don't understand why at this point everybody's pumping the brakes on listening to Harry.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, were any of you chosen? He was. Maybe consider his viewpoints a little.
Yeah. How many times this kid has had to save the fucking day?
Well, also just to go, maybe you should drop it to a kid that's like, easy for you to say, one of us has to die, me or Voldemort. That's every day I wake up and I go, only one of us can live. But, let me just drop it.
Yeah, let
no
me
big
just
deal.
take it easy on this information that I found that's probably very viable.
Ugh, so annoying. And it's also like, Harry points out that he's like, how can Lupin not hate Snape? Like, Snape's the one who accidentally ratted him out about being a werewolf.
That was a great point.
Yeah, and Lupin's response was also a semi-great point that he's like, yes, he did, but he's also the only one who made me wolfsbane the entire time I was there so that he wouldn't have to suffer and turn into a werewolf and, like, go through the whole thing.
I mean, also a good point, but still, like...
Essentially, that's Maidolf. Maidolf.
What?
I said wolfsbane is basically Maidolf for werewolves. It just calms the cramps. We were going to skip that point that was actually beautifully made by our producer, Sam, and I feel like we talk so much about periods that we have to say that. Because really, is being a werewolf any worse than being a woman?
Not according to the guy I was seeing.
We're basically the same thing, is that you turn into a monster for 4 days of the month. Or 5. Or if you're me, sometimes 9. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Or the whole month. Yeah.
For me, it's really the whole month. There's probably 2 days of reprise for me.
Wow, I'm
either getting my period, having my period, or just got done having my period. And there's just like 3 or 4 days that are just kind of like, just free falling.
I'm fine. Hormones.
I just think everybody is naive. I mean, obviously, I think Snape is going to be a bad guy at some point, and I think it's rapidly approaching.
I mean, I guess we'll see. There are a lot of seedy signs pointing to some some dangerous things. Lupin, by the way, has been hanging out with the werewolves. He's supposed to like live among the werewolves and try to convince them to like be on Dumbledore's side. They're not. Fenrir Greyback, who is notorious.
Who is the werewolf who made Lupin?
Yeah, who bit werewolf. He's known for not only like planning, he hates humans. He plots out when he's going to turn into a werewolf and make sure he's near someone who needs to bite. By the way, usually a kid. What a fucking pussy. I'm
sorry.
What
a pedawolf. He's a pedawolf.
Yeah, that you're just like, I really want to get kids. I just fucking want to bite into some juicy
super
young
fucking
Tinder.
creepy playground shit. That's a registered sex offender.
You know, in Michael, you know that music video Thriller where Michael Jackson turns into, I think, a werewolf?
Mm-hmm.
That's Fenrir Greyback.
Hilarious.
That's neither here nor there. So Lupin's trying to spy.
Oh, that's brilliant, Jessica.
Oh, but
Michelle.
also, thank you. Fenrir Greyback was mentioned by Draco.
Because he said he was gonna, when he went into the shop.
He name dropped. He's like, I wouldn't, I'm very good friends with Fenrir Greyback. And that's sort of fucking, I don't know. But here's where shit gets kind of weird for me. Percy shows up at the burrow.
Percy 1000% did not want to be there. He was absolutely 1000% doing it to satisfy his boss Rufus.
Rufus Scrimgeour. They both they show up. They drop by in the middle of dinner. Of course, Mrs. Weasley's like so happy. Oh my God, Percy finally came home, and that's the story that Scrimgeour is giving. Oh, we were in the neighborhood, so Percy wanted to drop by, and Percy.
Percy did not want to drop by at all. Percy was just like, ugh.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck. It's very seedy. And the real purpose of Percy and Scrimgeour's visit is because Scrimgeour wants to talk to Harry.
Yeah.
Such bullshit. So they go out. He's like, "Oh, Harry, let's go outside." Which was weird because at first he's like, pretended he didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Like, but could perhaps you, young boy, could show me the garden. It's like,
yeah. Give me a tour. I don't know you.
Yeah, you don't recognize the chosen one. You're the minister
the man
of
who's been in the news. Oh, me, moi, Harry Potter. Yeah. Let's go outside and have a little old chit chat, Rufio.
A friendly chit chat. And he's asking a lot of questions. He asks about the prophecy. He's like, whether or not he's the chosen one, or if Harry thinks he's the chosen one, and has Dumbledore told you anything? And Harry's just like blowing it off. First of all, how dare you scam the Weasleys and pretend that Percy gives a shit? More importantly, sorry, your whole fucking office in the Daily Prophet was campaigning against him and Dumbledore, and now you want to fucking get...
Yeah, go fuck yourself. By the way, I can't help but think, because when Luna Lovegood said he was a vampire, I was like, well, this feels very vampire-ish.
Just trying to suck the blood and joy out of Harry.
Information out of Harry.
He's trying to suck off the info.
You know what? He probably turned Percy into a vampire. Percy's probably a vampire now.
That's what you think, is that Scrimgeour's a vampire. He turned Percy into a vampire.
Uh-huh.
That's why they're here at night. They couldn't come during the day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's nighttime. An interesting theory.
Out and about at nuete. I don't know if that's night in any language.
It sounds great.
Nuete?
Nuet. No, that probably means something in some language.
If you're listening on our
Buonanotte,
Patreon, let me know if nuete is night in any language, because it sounds like it could be.
Notte in Italian.
Anyways, so Scrimgeour is like beating around La Bush, and finally just like, all right, here we go. I'm gonna get to the point. Yeah,
he's like, look, we could really use you being sort of a figurehead for the ministry. It would look really good if you were coming in and out.
Yeah, can you be a little bit of a mouthpiece, kind of like make us look good? And it's like, get fucked.
It's like, he wants like a celebrity endorsement. He's like, oh, if the public thinks Harry Potter's here, then if they think he supports the ministry, he then they'll feel safer because everyone thinks he's fucking...
The chosen one. We've been anointed by the chosen one. We're good. We fucked up last year when we called him and Dumbledore pieces of shit.
Yeah, we called them all crazy.
But now we're cool. Not only are we cool, but Harry thinks we're the best. We're fine now.
Like they're 100% trying to use and manipulate him. It's so much political bullshit. It makes me think of that time that The Rock, for once in his life, announced who he was voting for. Which, thank God, it was Joe Biden. But like, how much money did the Democratic Party pay you to just pretend that you aren't a raging Republican? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah. That is the worst. That is a payoff of epic proportion.
Oh, the guy who has publicly talked about maybe he would run for president as a Republican is voting for Joe Biden? Okay. I mean, he probably did, but like that they made him, there's no way he was isolating his fan base for a small amount of money. Absolutely not. No. So, Scrimgeour's trying to kiss his ass. He's like, I know you want to be an aura. We could like introduce you to some auras. We could have him show you the ropes. But he also fucks up and mentions, he's like, my friend Dolores Umbridge.
Why would he do that?
Like, did he not get the memo?
Yeah, who doesn't know about the douchery of Dolores?
Did no one fill him in on the fact that everyone at Hogwarts wishes she were burned at a stake, like the witches of Salem? Ugh.
I would love to watch Dolores Umbridge burn in her little suit.
Her little pink suit, just hemming to death.
Choking on the fumes of her own body. She's like, She doesn't, they just smoke her to death. They put her in a smoker and she just hems to death.
Oh, God.
But I love that Harry calls it out. He's like, yo, bullshit,
like,
bro.
Yeah,
bullshit.
Fuck you. Oh, you want me to pretend that I'm part so that people trust you? Oh, you want me to just be a fucking cog in your wheel? Fuck you. You don't get to use my face.
Harry Potter doesn't fake orgasms, okay?
Absolutely not. He comes when he wants to. And if he doesn't want to come, he's not coming.
No.
But if he does, watch out.
It's a big load. It's going to come.
I mean, he goes after them for their bullshit. He's like, you guys don't even know what you're doing. You're holding Stan Shunpike, who's definitely not a Death Eater. You're just using him as a scapegoat.
Let the fucking guy go.
And he, by the way, flashes the "I will not tell lies" scar. He's like, sorry, can't tell lies. Your good friend Dolores Umbridge gave me this shit.
She gave me this scar, that cunt.
Yeah. It's just basically like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing. How fucking dare you?
Here's what pisses me off is how has anyone not learned their lesson about the power of the dynamic duo that is Harry Potter and Albus Dumbledore?
Yeah,
like,
that
how?
It's like, it shocks me that it's like, sorry, after everything that's happened, do you think that he's not going to be on Dumbledore's side? Oh, the only person who was realistic about what was happening, the only person that believed Harry and trusted him, you think he'll be like, fuck that guy?
The two guys who saved the day, who are constantly saving the day, the best wizard known to man and wizard kind.
Yeah.
And then Harry Potter, who's the fucking chosen one. Like, why aren't you getting on board with these two? Yeah,
and it's just like, they could have asked for his legitimate help. Like, he could have gone, we would love for you to come in and talk to us and share what you know, share your insight. Yeah. They said, we would like for you to show up and be around so it looks like you're doing something. Yeah. Which is also, by the way, they might as well go, we don't actually think you're capable of doing anything, but other people do, so we would like people to think we associate with you.
We love smoke and mirrors. And that's what we're going to do. We're not going to actually get anything done.
Yeah, it's like when people like tag themselves in a picture with a celebrity that they like beg to take a picture, but they post it as if, I was just hanging out with Dave Chappelle. And you're like, go fuck yourself.
I love it when people check in at studios. They're like, just at the Sony lot. It's like, no, you're walking past it. You're on a walk and you stumbled across the Sony lot.
And they're like, oh shit, I'm going to pretend I'm here. Fucking God help us all. Oh, and Scrimgeour's like, oh, I guess you're, as if it's an insult. He goes, well, I guess you're just Dumbledore's man through and through. Like, yeah, I am.
I can't wait to see who plays Scrimgeour.
I'm excited for you to see. It's going to be pretty awesome. This chapter ends basically with Harry fucking doing an about face and going back in. Like, fuck yourself. You can stay out here and get eaten by the lawn gnomes for all I give a fuck.
Yeah.
And we roll
or he can
into
just vampire away because he's a vampire. I trust Luna Lovegood.
I love that your theory is Scrimgeour's a vampire and he's taken Percy with him. This is,
I think Percy gonna die. I think
Ye-
Percy expires in this book.
You think Percy's gonna die? Um,
I think
damn.
Percy goes over to the dark side.
I mean, what is the dark? I mean, at this point is the Ministry not the dark side? I don't know. Like, what the fuck are they doing over there? But let's roll into the next chapter, 17.
All right.
A sluggish memory. This was interesting.
If
Well,
it's
what are you
actually,
thinking when
you
you
know
see
what?
the title?
When I saw the title, I was like, oh, just because I knew the pensive was the thing that's going on. I'm like, oh, maybe they're going to use one of Slug's memories.
Okay, yeah, it's a little. I guess it's a little.
It's a
telling.
little on. It's a little on the schnoz.
Yeah, on the schnoz indeed. All right, so the New Year's here. Holiday season is ending. They all go back to school via flu powder because a one-time network has been open for them to flu powder in.
And they flew powder into what's her face's office.
Oh yeah, into McGonagall's office, who
Yeah.
like barely looks up because people are just flu powdering in. Miss Weasley, by the way, they're saying goodbye. She's a mess. Partly because she's saying goodbye, partly because she's still so upset about Percy, like pretending to come home and then fucking storming out with Scrimgeour.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a fun circle back, given our running our filthy mouths. The Gryffindor password has been changed to abstinence.
Abstinence.
Because
wow, that's crazy. I forgot about that completely.
I mean, that is telling of what's going on with these horny teenagers. But more importantly,
Sam is very proud of himself. Producer Sam is truly high-fiving himself.
He
right
put
now.
that in our show notes, and I'm glad he included it. It was also because the fat lady apparently drank all of the wine in another photograph, but also probably getting dicked down left and right. Is she fat? Is she pregnant? We'll find out. Watch as the story unfolds.
I can't
Bum,
wait.
bum, bum.
It's a food baby.
The best kind of.
She ate too much during Christmas.
The best Christmas.
She's having diarrhea.
Cha cha cha. Abstinence. Don't try to fuck anyone because they might have diarrhea. Get in the common room, kids. Ron and Hermione still fucking add-ins with each other. Lavender now calls him Wan, which is...
I gotta be honest, that drives me crazy.
It drives me crazy too. And that is coming from someone who talks to her dog so much that the dog voice has now slid over into the way I talk to my boyfriend. So I often talk in dog voice to my boyfriend.
Let me just interject really quick. All the time. You guys do it all the time now.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're trapped.
It started off a little bit, and it's slowly progressed to a lot of it.
I'm not going to apologize for having someone I love who is okay with me talking to them like a dog.
Do not apologize because it is wildly entertaining to me.
Gotta say, slippery slope into him not wanting to fuck me. It's got, at some point, you can't be like, Bojo, you want me to suck on your penis? You want me to put your little weenie in my mouth? Oh, good boy. Oh, yes. Come inside me. I want to have a booby. I want to have a puppy.
Rough.
And then I literally go, should we get another puppy? But so she's just very schoolgirlish. One, and she's got like, that's her dude. She's excited about it. Ginny and Dean are still a thing. Although it seems like Ginny's getting a little like bored of Dean, as you do at that age.
Because she wants to be with Harry Potter.
I don't think she does. I think she's just a teenage girl who's over it.
She gonna give him that red little puss.
I think that has. I don't
No?
think that has anything to do with her being disinterested in Dean. That's my opinion. Harry clearly has the hots for her. I think she's just. I mean, let's be honest. To be frank, we've seen Ginny have a few boyfriends at this point. She grows tired of people.
Yeah, I mean, she's a hoe. I love it.
Ginny the hoe.
I love that Ginny was like giving her brother shit because she's like, you're a fucking prude who hasn't gotten his dick wet. And then it's just like, she's just out there hoeing it up.
Yeah.
I'm here for that. I'm here for a little gender reversal in like who's pressuring who to be a hoe. Because usually, it's like the guy being like, oh, you're fucking prude. And in this case, it was the girl being like, you're a loser.
I'd like to take a step backwards.
Mhm.
At no point did my brother ever tell me I should fuck more. I think with brothers, usually they're like, I don't want to know that you're
I was just speaking generally
being.
and not necessarily in the brother-sister realm. Now that you say that, it is actually extremely creepy.
Yeah, I was like, sorry, was your brother telling you need to get out there and fuck more?
Yeah, in my mind, I didn't actually see them as brother and sister until you just said that, and now I'm like, ew,
Yeah, I feel
that's
like it's pretty
disgusting.
typical for the male sibling to go, hey, don't be a slut because you're not allowed to be a woman with sexual freedom because my friends might be like, she's hot, so they have to call you a slut.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, how many of my
So,
brother's friends did I hook up with? The world may never know.
how many did you hook up with?
I have no idea. I mean, how could I keep
Stopped
track?
counting.
He has so many friends.
So, they get back. Harry sees Hermione, obviously downloads her on everything that happened at the Burrow. And then they start having apparition
lessons.
Apparition lessons. And
Apparition.
I'm fucking pumped for this.
And you just say that again for me?
Apparition lessons?
Apparition lessons.
Apparition? Apparition? Apparition?
Apparition.
Apparition?
I think it's apparition. It doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. And neither are they because I can't apparate. Okay. Ron's excited. As if, what do you think you're just going to come in hot and be good at this lesson when you've been pretty much average at anything you do? Harry's got another private lesson.
Infuriating.
It's so annoying. I mean, Harry goes and does his private lesson with Dumbledore, kind of gives him the DL on Scrimgeour.
Uh-huh.
And we have like a touching moment here where when Harry repeats the story of him going, oh, I guess you're just Dumbledore's guy through and through. And he says, yeah, I am. We get a little teary-eyed. Dumbledore.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, he's touched.
Yeah. That's like, a tender moment.
Wow, Harry. That truly means a lot that the chosen one believes in me. That you trust me.
I mean, it's
beautiful.
their relationship is so special.
It's incredible.
I wish I liked the actor more who played Dumbledore.
Which one?
The current one.
Current Dumbledore? Well,
yeah.
It's a small group of people to choose from because honestly, most people who fit the typecast of Dumbledore have given up on their acting career at that.
For sure.
They went, it's just not happening for me.
Like it's the bottom of a Santa Claus barrel.
That guy had been going to adult diaper commercials for the last 35 years, and he's like, I struck gold. I'm gonna be in a
the
picture.
Greatest role ever for old people, and it's not Santa.
What do agents do at the? Oh, there's an old person. I don't know. We've got this 35-year-old woman. Could she play Dumbledore? She's pretty old. Like, where do they find people to do the parts?
So offensive and truly, truly real. I'm almost able to play Dumbledore.
You're on your way.
In just 10 more years, because I'm only 25.
That's right. Has she even been born yet? Well, who is this fetus?
Who? I'm such a baby.
It's
so he goes
time.
to see Dumbledore, tells him that they're homies. Lots of emotions, and then they hop into the pensive.
Yep.
And they're checking out two different memories.
The first one is from Morphin Gaunt, who we know is the weird ass kid, who was the child of Marvolo Gaunt, Tom Riddle's grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Dumbledore somehow secured this from him while he was in Azkaban before he died. So now we know Morphin Gaunt is dead. We go into the memory. We see Voldemort seeking out the Gaunt family home. He finds his Uncle Morphin there. Morphin's an asshole. He's still like, go fuck yourself. Mm-hmm. He also thinks that Voldemort's Tom Riddle Sr., which obviously clues Voldemort in that he looks like whoever his Muggle father is.
Yep.
And he's kind of like, go fuck yourself, mudblood, bullshit, Muggle, horse's ass. But then, of course, Voldemort starts speaking to him in Parseltongue.
And he's like, whoa, wait a minute.
And shit is on. He's like, wait, what? Okay, hold up. Morphin tells Voldemort all about their family history. He points out the ring on his finger, this big fucking fancy ring, which is also the ring that we've seen.
That Dumbledore had in the office.
That we had previously seen on his hand. He also tells Voldemort where Tom Riddle Sr. Lives, because he gives the story of, well, my fucking gross sister ran off with a Muggle, blah, blah, blah. And then the scene goes black.
Uh-huh.
The memory ends. Like, all the lights go out, everything stops. And according to Dumbledore, the next thing Morphin knew, he was lying on the floor of the house, his ring gone. So he has no memory of anything. That's why they don't see anything. something happened.
Mm.
Fucking, he was robbed. Lights went out.
And then he was charged for the murder of Tom Riddle Sr. and his parents.
Yeah. So they turn up missing. A maid went rogue, running down the street like, oh my God, I found their dead bodies. And as we know, Avada Kedavra leaves no sign of anything happening.
So they don't know what happened. But they were able to check the wand that belonged to Morphin, because you can download the history of what a wand does.
Yeah, we've seen that before. We've seen that happen when Winky the elf nabbed someone in the forest at the Quidditch World Cup. We also saw Prior Incantatem. That's the spell. That's correct. We also saw a sort of version of that. I guess it wasn't Prior Incantatem, but when at the end of Goblet of Fire, when Harry and Voldemort face off, and we start seeing the past spells come out of Voldemort's wand. So I mean, is a smoking gun. You know what I mean? Smoking wand.
It's a smoking wand.
It was his smoking wand. So they go, well, we know you hate muggles. I'm assuming the Ministry, we've seen the Ministry come there before. They've obviously had an eye on him. These muggles turn up dead. They're like, fuck you. You're going away forever. So this is making a murderer in the wizarding world.
It really is.
He's just like, oh, but I didn't do it.
And then he had manipulated his memory. So he really, truly thought he had done it. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, well, he thinks that Voldemort manipulated his memory.
Voldemort manipulated Morphin's memory. So Morphin is like, yeah. He like confessed to this. Like he actually thought he did it.
But it's also like, I wonder if he actually thought he did it, or if like he just wanted the credit because he hated muggles so much. So he's like, oh, I'll go down in history as the guy that killed these fucking gross muggles.
At what point was this? At what point did this take place? Like, where was Voldemort in his evolution?
He was young. He was, I think, late.
Like, was he doing this on just like a summer vacay?
Yeah, it was like late Hogwarts years. Yeah. So this was over like a vacation or a summer. He's in school. He knows, Dumbledore obviously knows that Voldemort stole the family ring.
Yeah, I wonder, God, it's like he went into school, Voldemort went into school like already like knowing that he had powers.
But it's like everyone has powers.
Yeah, which is more than, but he knew what he could do, like good and bad. It's so crazy to me that, I'm wondering what year this was when he was in school that he's like already laying down Avada Kedavra,
That's true. I mean, it's got to be at least a few years in because of kind of the stuff we see next. They go to another memory. Yeah, it's Tom Riddle during his time at Hogwarts. He's gathered at one of Slughorn's little gatherings, parties, if you will. He's kind of surrounded by his little group of cronies. It feels like a very Malfoy vibe-ish, where like he's clearly the leader. He's also wearing the ring. So, which means at this point, they're looking at a memory after when he killed the Riddles. So, and so this is where it gets weird. In the middle of the memory, the room fills with like a weird fog. And, because we see Slughorn, it's a young Slughorn with hair, which is hilarious. It's like we're not used to seeing it. Going on about, oh, you're so smart and you're so great. And then it gets foggy and you just hear a louder version of Slughorn's voice go, you'll go wrong, boy. Mark my words. And nobody in the memory acknowledges the fog because it fades, it lifts. This feels like when I try to edit my own audio for podcasts, by the way. And I'm like, oh, I'll just drop in. I'll just put in, a little plug. And it's just, if I do it on my own, it's like, and now we're cutting to a break.
By the way, none of this made sense to me. I'm so
weird.
glad we're going over this because I'm like, wait, what? This was so confusing to me. Like in the dream, like what was "You'll Go Wrong, my boy"?
Well, it's definitely Slughorn's voice. So we're supposed to believe that he was just going, oh, I already know you're not a good wizard and I'm on to you. And then the fog sort of clears. We see Tom ask Slughorn what a Horcrux is. And before you can hear him say anything, the fog returns and you hear Slughorn's voice go, I don't know anything about Horcruxes. Oh, wait, I don't know nothing about Horcruxes, boy. And I wouldn't tell you if I did.
I don't know anything about Horcruxes, and I won't tell you if I did.
Now
you get. Now get.
Go on and get out of here.
Don't let me catch you mentioning them again.
So it's just that weird foghorn fog. There's so many foghorn,
Foghorn,
whatever.
slughorn.
So they come out of it. Harry's confused, and Dumbledore tells Harry, this memory has been tampered with. So it literally is what I do when I try to add a break into audio. But someone has done it to the memory. They've gone in and been like, well, we'll just make this memory something different.
So if he got this memory from Slughorn, if Slughorn gave Dumbledore the memory, that's what happened, correct?
Yeah.
So Slughorn gave it to him and tweaked the memory.
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
And Dumbledore also, I think, believes that. And so he gives Harry an assignment. I need you to, he really likes you. Slughorn's real into you. I need you to retrieve the real memory.
Interesting.
And no matter what you have to do, you have to get that memory. It is of the utmost importance.
Interessante.
Very interessante. So, big assignment ahead, big task ahead. And we've got a big chapter coming up. Right after this, we're going to take a quick break.
BRB. Chapter 18, birthday surprises.
It's getting crazy.
Gotta be honest, I didn't know whose birthday it was.
Yeah, you were
I was like, whose birthday? It couldn't be Harry's. I was like, when is Hermione's? When have we ever celebrated anybody's birthday besides Harry?
I know. It's so funny because they make such a big deal about how, like, I don't have any friends around for my birthday, but, like, they never mention his other friends' birthdays. It's
never.
Honestly, very self-centered, Harry Potter, but
Very
it is also Harry Potter
narcissist.
and the whatevers. So
sounds like Hermione and Ron are gonna need an Al-Anon meeting for all of the dealings that they've had to go through with a narcissist. Anyways, Juan.
Yeah.
Juan.
And Hermione's still not getting along. Still fucking. Harry's having to say everything separately to each of them and like retell the stories because they just will not get along. They go to potions class. This is the first time that the Half-Blood Prince doesn't come through.
I'm starting to think the Half-Blood Prince might be Snape.
Snape?
Okay, then it's not Snape.
Wait, what was your logic?
I don't know.
Explore that.
Because of what happened in this.
Um,
The prince's note of shove the Bezor
yeah.
down the throat. And then he remembered that that's something that Snape had said. So I'm like, oh, maybe Snape had learned that. I don't know.
Oh, I feel like Snape was the potions teacher, so maybe that was I would have thought that was here's what to do before you actually learn how to do anything. And later you'll learn how to do something. But that's an interesting theory.
But you know what? Now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't think that's it. And I'm reading it again. Just shove the Bezor down their throat. That sounds very aggressive.
It does. It sounds kind of like, fuck you. It almost sounds like you're giving a finger to antidotes, which is like, I feel like maybe you're going to learn all these potions. Shouldn't you learn? Why wouldn't you learn the antidotes?
Also, I feel like this is kind of maybe a Voldemort thing. Like maybe this is Voldemort's book because Voldemort is a half-blood.
That's true. And he is Lord Voldemort. I mean, at some point, perhaps he called himself a prince.
Yeah.
Also, just the pompousness. Shove a Bezor
just
down their
shove
throat.
a down their throat.
It is very aggressive.
Voldemort's the kind of guy who gets a blowjob and definitely like suffocates the girl on his dick.
Oh yeah, holds her head there, and he's like, ha ha ha.
Yeah. He's like, take that, you little fucking witch. Do you think he would ever let a muggle blow him?
No. He wouldn't put himself anywhere near a muggle. I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. He's the Grinch.
But like, what if the last person on Earth, like, what if he needed to nut so bad and like the last person on Earth was a muggle?
I feel like one of the joys of being a wizard, especially one who's extremely unattractive and probably unlikable, is that you can kind of like bippity boppity come. I don't know if you need to fuck a muggle.
But do you think
bippity boppity blow a load?
Bippity boppity blow.
Yeah.
Bippity boppity spooge.
Yeah.
So I just think, first of all, when did he get ugly?
I don't know. I don't really know.
Because he was so handsome for so long. Like, how did you get... By the way, what if by, like, wizard standards, he's hot, Like, we're sitting here making fun of the guy because he has no nose, but, like, what if that's, like, a hot thing?
I feel like it's not, because we've seen girls swoon over wizards.
Okay, so Harry ends up doing this Beza, whatever.
He like panics. He's like, oh, he's gonna like find out I'm a fraud. And he sees that note and he's like, I'll just go grab one, hope it works. And Slughorn thinks it's cheeky. Like instead of going, fuck you, do the work, he's like, it's a clever boy. Oh my God.
Clever boy. And he's so like, oh, Harry, you are just like your mother.
Just always thinking on your feet. So original, so witty. You should learn how to do an antidote. But I'm impressed. 10 points to Gryffindor for being extra cheeky. Of course, fucking Hermione's pissed because she was finally...
Yeah, Hermione's losing her fucking blob at this point.
Because she was like, well, Half-Blood Prince can't help you now. And guess what? He did. Fucking... You don't always get to be the best, Hermione, because sometimes someone else years ago was better.
You have friends who have a cheat code.
And people cheat.
Up, down, left, right. BA select start, bitch.
Fuck. Yes, I don't know what that means, but I feel like that was a code.
That's an extra life code for Contra on Nintendo.
Wow. Look at you. You're the real nerd here.
Jeez.
Okay, so after class, now that Harry's charmed the teacher, he corners Slughorn.
And he asks him, what's
about
Horcrux?
Horcruxes, which did we use the word, or did we mention what Voldemort said in the last, before the break? I don't know, but that's what he'd asked about. I think we did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Boo, you Horcrux. And Slughorn's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Dumbledore obviously sent you here. Like, he immediately knows. Like,
this is so shady to me. This is so weird. Like, first of all, I still don't know what a Horcrux is.
No.
Why is he so fucking shady and weird about it?
I don't know. It's very weird. He tampered with the memory, which is like, so Dumbledore obviously assumes whatever a Horcrux is, however Voldemort knows about it. I assume he went to, it must be potion related, if he went to Slughorn and went, you were his potions teacher, did you ever tell him about Horcruxes? And he's like, he must have asked about them. That's what I feel like this is. And he just gets really nervous and he's like, I gave him the memory. That's how it is. There's nothing to see here. Get out. Like, he basically is just like, fuck you. He didn't say fuck you, but he's like embarrassed and weird.
And Harry's like, oh shit, this is going to be a fucking nightmare getting this. This is going to be a lot harder than I thought it was.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, I thought I could just walk in and ask and we're buddy. But I think, and I don't think he realized how serious it was until that happened though, that he's like, oh, this is not something he's trying to disclose, which is very telling considering how much he wants to kiss Harry's ass all the time.
It's so funny because every time, obviously, there's like a new teacher or professor introduced, according to the JK formula, I'm like, okay, this person is immediately, their head is on the chopping block. They're only with Lupin, and I'm trying to think what other...
Trelawney hasn't been a bad teacher.
But Trelawney wasn't introduced in the way like Lupin was, as like a dark arts teacher.
Well, Slughorn's not a dark arts teacher.
Slughorn's not a dark arts teacher. So it's like, what is this? This is like a weird uncharted territory thing. But I think Slughorn, just because of his affiliation with Slytherin, I think he's up to no good somehow.
So you think he's not?
I think he's
necessarily a good guy.
He's he's the person who's ready to switch sides at any point. You know, like whoever's in the lead, that's the side he's on.
Oh, yeah, he's bandwagon for sure, I think. I mean,
so
I don't know if that's true, but that makes sense. It's an accurate assessment of his personality.
Yeah. Yeah, he just seems like the kind of person, like, whatever that modified memory was, it was like, so Dumbledore doesn't find out that he's, like, ready to flip to the other side at any moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly trying to hide something, which is very mysterious. And now it's also like, well, now he knows that Harry is trying to get it, so that adds an extra hurdle in Harry getting the memory.
Oh, they have their apparating class.
On to something a little more fun. This is exciting. They're learning how to apparate. Apparition. There's a ministry apparition teacher there who's like very frail and wispy, and which makes Harry think like, does apparating too much like wither you away? Which I think is funny, and also I am curious to know. Uh, like it's really weird. So they get sectioned off to everyone fucking listen up. Here's the instructions. Harry overhears Malfoy talking to Crabbe, saying like it's taking longer than I thought. Like he's explaining something. And he
Tells him to
instructs
keep
Crabbe
a lookout.
Yeah, continue keeping a lookout. And so it's just very like it's adding to the suspicions.
And then he checks his Marauders map, which is always, anytime the Marauders map gets busted out, I'm like, oh, well, this is going to solve everything. But he can't find him on it. Okay.
Yeah, he's
how can you
constantly
disappear
looking
on
for
the Marauders map? The only way you can disappear, even if you're under the invisibility cloak, you can still be seen on the Marauders map, right?
Yeah. So what's going on? I don't know.
I'm this whole part, I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, he'll sometimes see Crabbe and Goyle, but he doesn't see Malfoy. It's like very strange. But then that also makes him think like, oh, they're not always with Malfoy. But then he starts thinking about like, well, Ron and Hermione, they used to always be inseparable and they're not always together. So maybe that's not suspicious. Maybe they're just growing apart.
Yeah.
It's all very strange.
It's all very strange. And then Ron's birthday. So here's the birthday.
Yeah.
Ron's birthday.
Ron wakes up. He's got a stack of presents. He grabs a box of chocolates, starts eating the chocolates. Classic Ron move to just shovel food into his gullet.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with shoveling food into your face.
I think literally everyone listening to this podcast would disagree with you. All of them, every single one, they would disagree with.
You know what? That's the only thing about Ron that I completely agree with is his insatiable appetite.
He has poverty mouth. There's food, and we don't always have food where I live, so I'm gonna eat all the food.
Wait, I'm sorry.
The fact that he is not morbidly
poverty
obese.
Mouth?
Yeah, I did, and
I don't know if that's a real term, but if it's not, you officially need to get that in the Urban Dictionary.
I don't think it is. I haven't heard it somewhere, but it makes sense to me that it's like, I have to finish the plate because what if there's not another plate for 3 weeks?
Yeah. Poverty mouth. He's got a
get
real
it.
case
It's
of
why I
poverty mouth.
overeat.
So do I have poverty mouth then? Because I'm always eating?
No. You snack a lot. You don't eat meals, so the amount you eat isn't weird. You just snack a lot.
Okay.
It's a little weird that you decide to do it while we're recording a podcast, but
well,
that's neither here nor there.
When the hunger hits, you got to go with it.
So
but these are the chocolates, and I forgot about that. These were the chocolates that were given to Harry from Romilda.
Yeah, who was trying to poison him with a love spell, but he did because he didn't want to be rude, he took the chocolates and he's like, I'll try them later. And he had just
put them in his trunk where they were with the Marauders map. So when he gets the Marauders map out, he put the chocolates out and then,
he just cast them aside.
Poverty mouth, Ron is like, ugh.
Ron just thought they had fallen off his pile of presents, which I guess is logical. He didn't pick them up on a regular day. But
and then I love when Ron's like, Harry, I love Romilda.
Yeah, he's like, I don't think she even knows who I am.
And Harry's like, who are you talking about?
He thought he was talking about Lavender first. He's like, I can't stop thinking about her. And he's like, Lavender?
Oh,
he's
God, no. Are you going to start calling her Lav?
Ugh, gross. Also, a line in the book.
Yeah, that was the line. Yeah, it was
right. Is that did he say that or did Hermione say that?
He said that. He said,
"You're right." I was like,
said
"Wait."
that to Ron. He's like, "What are you gonna do? Start calling her Lav or something?"
Sorry,
like that?
you said that, and I thought we had skipped something. I was like, "Wait."
No.
Yeah, no. He's like, because I can't deal with that, which is fair. But he's just like obsessed with Romilda, and that's how Harry realizes what happened. He's like, "Oh my god!"
He's like, "Oh shit!
You ate
my chocolates. You fucked." So Harry, he's like, "Oh shit! I gotta get you. We gotta get you an antidote."
Yeah, which also, like, by the way, he says something about Romilda, and Ron like punches him in the head.
Oh, hilarious.
And he's like, "We've got to get you to but like him going, you have a love potion it doesn't register because of the love potion.
Yeah.
So he's like, Ron goes, "Can you introduce me to her?"
Hilarious. Oh, but he says that to Lavender Bratton when they're heading out.
Yeah, because Harry's like, yeah, I can introduce her. She's gonna be in Slughorn's office because she has extra lessons with him. Because he's like, who can solve this problem? The fucking potions master. And they're leaving, and Lavender's waiting with a gift, like one, and he's like, I don't care about you. Harry's
Like
gonna
later,
introduce
I'm
me.
off to meet Romelda Vane.
But which, I mean, can you imagine being a 16-year-old girl? You've been making out with this guy nonstop, and he comes out on his birthday. You have a gift for him. She obviously really likes him, and he's like, I love someone who's not you.
I mean, honestly, she's gonna end up in the infirmary. She's gonna start cutting herself.
I mean, do they treat regular wounds like that? Ugh. How do wizards cut themselves? Do they just like burn themselves with a wand? Just
Yeah, they do. They do the I will not tell lies.
Oh God!
The
They're like,
Umbridge style
I'm
shit.
coming. So they get down there. He brings Ron, and he's like, Slughorn, dude, you got to help me. And Ron's behind him, like, where is she? I want to see her. And Slughorn's like, oh, I'm surprised you can't come up with a fix for this. You're, the best
You're
student
the
we
best.
have.
You're so good at this.
And he's like, well, I've never made a love potion antidote before, so I didn't want to like mess it up. And Slughorn's like, well, I mean, how old's the love potion? It could be a lot stronger. And then just looking at Ron, he's like, oh, this is really serious. But to kind of keep Ron under wraps, because he's just in where the fuck is Romilda zone.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, come on in, have a drink of this. It'll calm your nerves before she gets here. He just plays along with Harry, going, oh, she's just not here yet. And he gives Ron
him some mead.
Well, he gives him an antidote first, and then he doesn't look good.
Well, wait, what?
Yeah, he gives Ron an antidote.
He gives Ron an antidote. Doesn't look good.
Which makes him, it's like, I think the equivalent of eating chocolate after a Dementor. It's like, take this, you'll feel better.
Yeah.
So Ron's looking kind of grim because he's just come down from a huge high. I'm sure it's like, a hormone crash. And he's like, oh, let's have a glass of mead. That'll bring up your spirits. Harry's kind of like, oh, maybe it'll,
again, mead. We're boozing. These kids are boozing. They are just openly drinking alcohol in school. I also wonder, now getting weird to me.
I wonder if Slughorn would have offered this to just anybody, or if he still wants to be like, Harry, like, we're cool, right? Like, I'm giving your friend a drink.
Yeah.
Like, we're cool. Like, I got booze and I'm sharing it.
Yeah.
I'm the cool teacher.
I'm the really cool teacher who's going to get my students lit.
Yeah. So he gives them a glass of the mead. Ron chugs it because he's fucking trying to chase a high. He's like, I want anything to feel better. And holy shit.
He starts having a fucking seizure.
Yeah, he's convulsing. He's turning blue. He's just drank poison.
So where's this poison from? What is going on? What is happening? This is a lot for me.
Yeah, also, I don't know if you remember this, but Slughorn was like, oh, I was going to give this mead to Dumbledore, but what he hasn't had, he won't miss what he hasn't had.
Oh, I don't remember
this was for
that.
Dumbledore.
Oh my God. That was meant for Dumbledore.
Yeah, and he just gave it to a student, and that student's been poisoned, which means he was about to give poisoned mead to Dumbledore. Although it seemed like he obviously forgot or didn't know or...
Interessante. Oh, and
absolutely.
The plot thickens.
Yeah, and by the way, Ron's just laying there dying, and Harry thinking quickly because fucking Slughorn's so caught off guard. He's just like, because he obviously wasn't expecting this to happen.
And then Harry remembered what the Half-Blood Prince taught him.
And he goes and he grabs a Bazor and shoves it down Ron's throat. And that's where we leave off.
I mean,
that is.
I can only assume Ron spends a considerable period of time in the infirmary after this.
We'll
which
see.
Is joyful for me because less Ron.
I mean, to be fair, to be clear about where we left off, Ron didn't come back to life. He just stopped moving.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think Ron's dead.
We don't know what happened to Ron. Is he dead? Is he brain dead? Will he ever come back?
Oh, he could be just a vegetable. Oh
Who
my
will be the
God.
keeper?
Ron's going to be in a wheelchair.
I'm sorry. How strong is the wizarding community if people are in wheelchairs? There's not a better solution? You can't wizard on some legs?
I mean, these are all very good questions.
I can't.
I mean,
I have a lot of
it
questions.
seems like you'd be a pretty hacky wizard if you couldn't figure out legs, you know?
That you just couldn't, like, that. I mean,
I feel like
literally
those are some of the first lessons you should be learning in wizard school.
Well, if nothing else, they just saw that lesson low-key being taught in apparition because people were apparating
Losing
without
half
their
of
legs.
their leg.
So it seems like a pretty generic spell. I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's where we leave off. We've got a lot coming up. If you haven't followed us on social media, follow us at 2filthynerds. We're doing some fun stuff only on our social media. And also the other place we're doing fun stuff that you can only see exclusively is on our Patreon. Did we mention it?
At patreon.com/2filthynerds. Join us. We have a fun little community of people. We love everybody. We've gotten real close with people during this whole quarantine.
Greg came in late to the chat, so he's confused on what the Osama bin Laden stuff is that we've cut out. So now you heard this, and you're all confused. But it's fun. We do live watches. We only our patrons are part of the actual live feed. Everyone else is getting the previously recorded live feed, which we sometimes will chat along in with you guys if you behave, or if not, who knows? We'll be there, shitting on ourselves just as hard as you're shitting on us.
Oh, I love a good shit on me.
Okay, well, you know. We all have our kinks, and I'm not going to shame you for it.
No kink shaming here. We are a kink shame-free zone.
Yes. Also, if you unless that's your kink, and then please God, don't burp into the microphones. If you have not already, please subscribe and rate and review the podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Leave a witty review.
Yeah. Say something fun there. Leave a fun wizard pun. Leave a fun non-wizard pun. Maybe it's a Die Hard pun. Die Hard episode drops Wednesday with special guest Josh McCouga from the History Channel.
I'm so
You're
excited.
Gonna fucking love him.
Hans Gruber.
Yes, and this week, Bachelorette finally comes to a close. We're getting our finale. We're going to find out, does she end up with someone? Does she end up alone? Is there a horrible earthquake and they all get sucked into the sea?
Bitch. Ending up alone.
Don't be with your families. Sob alone into your socks because you couldn't be with your families and you drank yourself to near death, much like Ron. And tune in to our next episode and follow the saga of the Half-Blood Prince.
Bye.